A profound silence hangs over the Korean Peninsula, but behind this calm, history is about to be rewritten. Imagine a great monk, Heounbeopsa, meditating beneath the mountains, envisioning a future where borders dissolve and unity prevails. He saw not just a dream, but a destiny, and that destiny began to take shape in a year that will resonate for generations. But who really was Heounbeopsa? What do his prophecies reveal about the complexity of relations between Korea and China? As the winds of change blow, disturbing questions arise. How will unification shape the future? What are the signs that are already manifesting? Every day, new clues emerge, connecting the past to the present in surprising ways. Every detail of this story is a thread that weaves a great tapestry, and you are about to discover how these threads intertwine. Get ready for an intriguing journey, where mysteries and revelations meet. What Heounbeopsa predicted could have far greater implications than anyone imagines. Let's together uncover the secrets behind the prophecy that could change the face of the region forever. Throughout history, the relationship between Korea and China has been marked by a complex dance of invasions, cultural influences, and political exchanges. From ancient times, when China's Han dynasty established influence over the Korean kingdoms, to the present day, this relationship has shaped not only the national identities, but also the political destinies of both countries. The presence of foreign powers has always been a determining factor in Korean dynamics, and China, with its cultural and political legacy, has always played a central role in this narrative. The invasions, as cruel as they were, also brought about a cultural exchange that still resonates in Korean traditions. Confucianism, for example, is a cultural heritage that permeates Korean society, influencing its family structure and social institutions. The same can be said about Korean literature, art, and even cuisine, which have deep roots in Chinese culture. This cultural interconnection is not only a historical aspect, but serves as a backdrop for contemporary debates about the unification of Korea, as many of the traditions and values that permeate Korean society have been shaped, in part, by Chinese influence. Therefore, when analyzing unification, it is crucial to understand this historical context that still resonates in current relations. You've just heard a fascinating story about Korea, full of mysteries and revelations that could change the peninsula's fate forever. But this journey doesn't end here. If you want to continue discovering more about prophecies, unification, and the complex relations between Korea and China, don't miss any details. Subscribe to the channel now and leave a like. Your participation is essential for us to continue bringing you such impactful and revealing content. Click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss anything about this story that is just beginning. Let's explore each chapter of this incredible journey together. However, not everything was rosy in the relationship between these two countries. Over the centuries, Korea has faced invasions and occupations that have left deep scars. Japanese rule in the early 20th century, for example, not only dismantled Korean autonomy, but also exacerbated divisions between North and South, creating an environment of distrust that persists to this day. The wounds opened by these invasions still influence political and social perceptions in Korea, and the shadow of history cannot be ignored when talking about unification. The Cold War brought a new level of complexity to relations between Korea and China. China's support for the communist regime in North Korea and the U.S. alliance with South Korea created a scenario of antagonism that is still present in contemporary political dynamics. The legacy of this era continues to influence the way the two countries view each other, and historical tensions are a factor that makes unification a delicate and complex topic. Therefore, understanding the nuances of the past is essential to any discussion about the future of the Korean Peninsula. And it is in this context of complex historical interactions that the current scenario emerges. Relations between South Korea and China, which vary between cooperation and rivalry, are a reflection of historical tensions and new global dynamics. The unification of Korea is not only an internal issue, but also an issue that involves regional and global interests, in a world where alliances are constantly changing. Thus, history is not just a backdrop, but an active force that shapes the aspirations and fears of a people in search of identity and unity. Heounbeopsa, a 20th-century Buddhist monk, left a legacy of prophecies that continue to resonate among Koreans, especially when it comes to unification. His predictions, which spoke of a future where peace and unity would prevail over division, resonate with the hopes of many who yearn for a future where the two Koreas can finally reunite. Interpretation of his prophecies varies, but the feeling that they offer an optimistic vision for the future is quite common. For many, Heounbeopsa is seen as an almost mystical figure, whose words transcend time and offer a path to reconciliation. The impact of Heounbeopsa's prophecies goes beyond the religious or spiritual scope. They are also intrinsically linked to social and political issues. In a country marked by deep divisions, the message of hope and unity that emanates from the monk's words finds resonance in the aspirations of a people seeking healing and reconciliation. Contemporary interpretations of prophecies have the potential to unite individuals around a common cause, transforming the vision of a unified future into a call to action. It is interesting to note how spiritual traditions can influence political and social thought. The relevance of Heounbeopsa's prophecies also extends to the debate over Korean identity. In a globalized world, where external influences are many, the monk's words offer an anchor for national identity. In times of crisis, these prophecies can serve as a reminder of what it means to be Korean and the importance of unity in the face of adversity. It is as if the monk's predictions were a form of cultural resistance, a call for the Korean people not to forget their roots and seek a future where unification is not just an aspiration, but a reality. However, the impact of prophecies is not without controversy. Some people question its relevance in a modern context, where political dynamics are complex and multifaceted. Criticism focuses on the idea that prophecies can be idealistic, ignoring the difficult realities surrounding unification. However, even these criticisms recognize that the discourse around Heounbeopsa still mobilizes important discussions about the identity and future of the peninsula. In many ways, the figure of Heounbeopsa and his prophecies offer a lens through which we can examine the relationship between history, spirituality, and politics. Thus, Heounbeopsa's legacy is not just a matter of faith or spirituality, but a social phenomenon that continues to shape the perception of unification in Korea. The way these prophecies are interpreted and discussed can offer valuable insights into a people's desire to unite, overcome divisions, and build a common future. In the end, the monk's words remain a beacon of hope, illuminating the path to unification amid a sea of uncertainty and historical challenges. When I think about the unification of Korea, I can't help but notice the challenges that pose almost insurmountable barriers. First, we have the political issue. The division of Korea into two distinct nations is not just a matter of physical borders, but rather of deeply rooted ideologies. North Korea, under an authoritarian regime, and South Korea, with its vibrant democracy, represent worlds apart. Mutual distrust cultivated over decades is a major obstacle. The possibility of peaceful unification seems distant when we consider that any move towards integration needs to confront not only political differences, but also the governmental structures that have been built around these ideologies. In addition to politics, economic challenges cannot be ignored. South Korea, an economic powerhouse with an advanced infrastructure, stands in stark contrast to North Korea, which lives under severe sanctions and a collapsing economy. Unification would require massive investments to raise the quality of life in the North, something that is a legitimate concern for South Koreans. They fear that unification could drag their economy down, similar to what happened to Germany after reunification. The question of how to divide resources and which sectors to prioritize in the reconstruction of the North is a real puzzle. But no less important, social challenges also play a crucial role. The cultural difference that has developed over the years results in a South Korean society that often views North Koreans as other. The issue of social acceptance and integration of citizens who grew up under an oppressive regime is a significant barrier. Building a common identity requires time, empathy, and conscious effort on both sides. Without this, unification could result in even greater social tensions, and the harmony sought may be far from being achieved. However, not everything is gloomy. The opportunities that arise with the possibility of unification are vast and promising. Cooperation with China, for example, can be an important bridge. China's involvement in the Korean Peninsula is a factor that cannot be underestimated. Its role as one of South Korea's main trading partners and a strategic ally, although complicated, could facilitate a more productive dialogue between the two Koreas. The initiative for a new path to unification can be driven by Chinese investments, creating a more favorable environment for economic integration. Unification can open doors to a broader and more diverse market. With North Korea integrated into the global economy, South Korean companies could benefit greatly from exploring new resources and labor. Collaboration in sectors such as technology, agriculture, and tourism could bring new economic vigor to the region. The creation of special economic zones, for example, could not only benefit the local economy but also contribute to regional stability. Unification could offer a chance for cultural and social renewal. Exchanging experiences and collaborating on cultural projects could help create a new Korean identity that embraces the rich traditions of both nations. It is an opportunity to build a more inclusive and conscious society, where differences can be celebrated instead of being seen as obstacles. Unification is not just a political issue. It's a chance to rewrite Korea's narrative and create a more harmonious future. The unification of Korea is not an issue that only concerns Koreans. Its geopolitical repercussions reverberate throughout the world. For China, for example, unification would represent a significant change in the balance of power in the region. A unified Korea under a democratic regime and aligned with Western interests could be seen as a threat to the national security of China, which has always been concerned with maintaining a buffer state between itself and its rivals. The presence of U.S. troops on the Korean Peninsula, for example, could become an even more controversial topic if South Korea presented itself as an even closer ally. The United States, in turn, would also be faced with a dilemma. Unification could result in new security dynamics in the region that could require a reassessment of its military presence. On the one hand, there would be an opportunity to end a conflict that has lasted for decades, but on the other hand, the loss of influence over unified Korea could be seen as a strategic defeat. How the U.S. reacts to this scenario could shape foreign policy in the region for many years to come. In addition to regional powers, the unification of Korea would also have implications for Russia. Historically, Russia has always had an interest in the Korean Peninsula, and if unification occurs, Moscow would need to find a way to position itself to ensure its interests are not marginalized. Russia could see a unified Korea as an opportunity to expand its reach in the region, but also as a risk, depending on how alliances form after unification. The geopolitics of Korean unification is a complex dance of interests and power. Decisions made in this regard will have an impact that goes far beyond Korean borders. The balance of power in East Asia, relations between great powers, and even the structure of global alliances could be profoundly affected. Therefore, the future of the peninsula is not just a question of unification, but of how that unification will be perceived and managed on the world stage. The future of the Korean Peninsula is a topic that generates both hope and uncertainty. As relations between South Korea and North Korea continue to evolve, the possibilities for a more integrated future become increasingly palpable. We see, for example, that the growing economic interdependence between the two nations can open doors to a type of cooperation that previously seemed unimaginable. Through joint initiatives such as infrastructure projects and cultural exchanges, there is significant potential to overcome the historical barriers that have divided the peninsula for so long. This integration is not just a matter of politics, it is a matter of building bridges between societies and promoting mutual understanding.